Hello everyone, I welcome you all to Manu Law Classes Current Affair Analysis. In this particular video, we will discuss about July 25, The Hindu Delhi edition newspaper. So in this particular video, we will discuss in detail first about the Israel Judicial Reform Bill. Then we will discuss about the RRTS project, which is there in news in Delhi. Then we will discuss about one more news from Delhi, that is about water ATMs. Then we will discuss about another state, that is Rajasthan. A new social security scheme has been launched. Then we will discuss about ISRO's PSLV C56. And after that, from the editorial section, we will discuss about ASEAN, and from the text and context section, we will discuss about the national survey, and then we will discuss about CHIS and SEBI. So these are the important topic of concern for today news analysis. Moving further toward our next very important article, that is coming in from Israel. And here basically Israel introduced a controversial judicial reform bill, and it has been passed by the parliament. So Israel has recently pushed through the parliament a key clause of its controversial judicial reform package. And in this particular package, there will be that, as the critics are saying, it will undermine the Israel liberal democracy by removing checks and balance on the executive, while the government argues it need to curb the judicial overreach. So basically there is a tussle between the judiciary and the executive, and in that backdrop this particular controversial bill has been introduced. So here basically the bill was passed and it aims to limit the power of the Supreme Court in striking down the government decision which the judges deems unreasonable. And the reform package has triggered one of the biggest protest movement in Israel's history. So it will curb the Supreme Court power or the judiciary power of judicial review. Just comment it out in comment box that in India, judicial review has been introduced or has been there, and it has been adopted from which country. Just comment it out in comment box. Okay. Now the bill has already been passed and the people are basically protesting against this particular bill. Next news is coming in from the EPFO section, and here basically government approved 8.15 interest rate for the Provident Fund deposit in the year of 2022 to 23. So here basically the Central Board of Trustees of the EPFO, its full form is Employees Provident Fund Organization, it has increased the interest rate of deposit in the Provident Fund to 8.15% from the 8.10%. Okay, so just this increase has been done. You should know about it. Moving further toward our next important topic, that is about the RRTS project. So the full form of RRTS is Regional Rapid Transit System. Delhi government has assured the Supreme Court of paying its contribution toward the RRTS project. So basically, the Delhi government was not giving money for the RRTS project, and that's why Supreme Court asked the Delhi government to pay the fund. The government has spent 1,100 crore on ads in last 3 years, which is much more than its share in the public transport facility, as the apex court said, and it asked the Delhi government to give this much of contribution, whatever is there, by the Delhi government to the central government. So we will discuss in detail about this particular project, that what is this RRTS and what is this regional transport project. So here basically RRTS project is a new dedicated high speed, high capacity and comfortable commuter service which will connect, or it is connecting, the regional nodes in NCR. So as we know, there has been many instances of pollution in the national capital Delhi. The areas which are within around 100 kilometers of the capital region, they are categorized as NCR, and it covers various states from Rajasthan, from UP, from Haryana. So these NCR region, when the people move from this area NCR region to Delhi, for jobs or for education purpose. So this create a lot of problem to people also and as well as to environment by creating much more pollution. So this particular dedicated corridor has been made for connecting the regional nodes in the NCR. It is different from the conventional railway as it will provide reliable, it will provide high frequency transport, and it will be a regional point to point regional travel at high speed along with a dedicated pathway. RRTS is also different from metros as it caters to passengers looking to travel a relatively longer distance with fewer stop and higher speed. For example, in metro we see a lot of stations coming in between, but in this particular RRTS project, it will cover the longer route. For example, it will cover from Meerut to Delhi, and here there will be few stoppage and it will be very high speed. So it is different from metro and is also different from the conventional railway. Now, what is the intended benefit of this particular corridor? First of all, it will be environment friendly. Okay. The corridor is estimated to reduce around 2.5 lakh carbon dioxide tons per year of the annual greenhouse gas emission. Second one is about the economy as it will lead to economic development, and the share of the public transportation uses along the corridor will be increasing from the 37% to 63%. So it will be definitely be economical as those who are traveling via train, it creates a lot of problem to them. So this will be a viable option. Now the third important point will be high speed connectivity. As I told you, this is different from the conventional railway and also different from the metros. So it will provide a high speed connectivity or high speed railway connectivity. We cannot say railway, it will provide high speed connectivity. Then there will be also sustainable urbanization. Sustainable urbanization. This particular corridor will help to link the other urban areas with Delhi or the NCR region with the Delhi, and it will be an example of sustainable urbanization. It will basically reduce traffic because those who are coming from buses or those who are coming from their own transport, so it will be helpful for them as it will reduce traffic congestion and total emission from the transport sector. So this is the major project about the RRTS, and we discussed all the nitty-gritties of this particular project, that is the Regional Rapid Transit Project. Then moving on toward our next important news, that is CM inaugurates Delhi first RO water ATM. So here basically CM Arvind Kejriwal in Delhi started the city's first water ATM, which will provide drinking water treated using the reverse osmosis process in the Mayapuri phase 2. So here basically now the government is trying to extend this particular water ATM projects to other areas also, and soon it will install 500 water ATMs. And this will be accessible to all those who will be having an ATM card which is issued by Delhi Jal Board, and those who are having this ATM card, they can withdraw up to 20 liters of water daily from these ATMs free of cost. So they don't have to wait for the water tankers, or in those areas where the water supply is not there, they don't need to wait for any water tanker or something like that. They can just go to the ATM card with their ATM card to the water ATM and withdraw 20 liters of water with their ATM card. So this is a very noble step. Just remember, Delhi has introduced it. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the state section, and we will discuss in detail about this in the text and context section. Here basically a social security scheme has been introduced by the Rajasthan government for the gig workers. So here basically social security will be provided to gig workers, and there will be a regulatory framework for the aggregators along with the setting up of a welfare board. So this is the first state or first such legislation in the country which is outlining welfare measures for the platform based worker. The name of this particular scheme is Rajasthan Platform Based Gig Worker Bill 2023. It has been passed in both the houses, and this bill will make contribution, or it will having a provision for charging and collection of the gig worker welfare fee from the aggregator. So it is a very noble step taken by Rajasthan government. And also there has been penalties clause in this particular bill which allows for penalties, and if the aggregator violate any of the clauses, the bill empowers the state government to impose a fine of up to rupees 5 lakh from the first contravention and up to 50 lakh for the subsequent violation. So these are the important provision. We will discuss in detail about this particular bill in our text and context section. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from ISRO. So here basically ISRO has launched PSLV C56 and it will be carrying Singapore's new imaging satellite. So the launch vehicle is configured in its core alone mode and similar to the C55, and it will launch basically DSSAR satellite, which is a 360 kilogram satellite into the near Earth equatorial orbit. The scientific aperture radar payload in the satellite will provide all-weather day and night coverage. So now we will discuss this particular news in detail. So ISRO has launched or announced PSLV C65 C56 carrying Singapore's DSAR satellite, which will be launched on July 30 from Sriharikota, and it will be carrying DSSAR satellite, which will be launched along with the 6 other satellites, and according to ISRO, PSLV C56 will have a similar configuration like that of the C55, and it will launch DSSAR, which is a 360 kilogram satellite into the near equatorial orbit. Okay, so you have to learn more about the orbits. What is low Earth orbit? What is near equatorial orbit? You just remember all these important points. Just read about that. Now it will also carry basically a satellite that will be given by Singapore, and it will also carry that satellite. Talking about DSSAR, it will having a synthetic aperture radar which will be developed by Israel Aerospace Industries, and this allows the DSSAR to provide an all-weather day and night coverage, and it is capable of imaging 1 meter resolution at the full polarimetric. Other satellite which it will be carrying, PSLV C56 will be carrying, that is Velox AM, and it is a 23 kg technology demonstration microsatellite. Apart from that, it will also carry atmospheric coupling and dynamics explorer. It will be an experimental satellite. Scoop 2, a 3U nano satellite which will be flying a technology demonstrator payload, and it will also carry New Lion by the New Space. It will be an advanced 3U nano satellite which will enabling seamless Internet of Things connectivity in both the urban and the remote location. And also Galaxia 2, which is a 3U nano satellite which will be orbiting at the low Earth orbit, and also ORB-12 Strider. So these satellites will be carried by PSLV C56. Just remember about all these important information, all the names which I have provided here, all these satellites and from which country they belong. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the editorial section. So we will discuss this particular article in the text and context section. Both the articles are same, and it is talking about the sample survey. We will discuss it in text and context section. Now there is one more article, an important article talking about ASEAN. So as we know, the 56th foreign minister meeting has been held of the Association of Southeast Asian Nation ASEAN in Jakarta, Indonesia in mid-July 2023. So it is basically providing a regional dynamic of the ASEAN and how it will move further. So here the author is saying various challenges and vision of ASEAN, and then it is telling about the India's role. So here basically what ASEAN has said in its foreign ministers meeting, it said that ASEAN's ability to manage regional and global dynamics depended on two critical ingredients, that is to promote its unity and centrality. And also it is based on, first, it should maintain its credibility by adhering to the ASEAN Charter, and the second, it is to stay in a driver's seat while navigating regional dynamics. So these are the two important ways through which ASEAN will lead its regional dynamics. Apart from that, what is concerned from India perspective or from the US perspective is that its relationship with China. So here basically China enjoys close political and economic relationship with the ASEAN state, and at least three of them, that is the Laos, Cambodia and the Myanmar, they are the virtual dependencies of the China. And also Philippines is basically that not that much assertive. It has already filed a complaint in the PCA with regard to the China's aggression. But apart from that, all these countries are more or less having a good relationship or have more dependency on China. So that is a cause of concern for India and also for the United States of America, as the Chinese argument is that US is solely responsible for the poor relationship because it steadily refuses to accept and accommodate itself to China peaceful rights. And also US on the other hand is no longer willing to turn a blind eye to China's aggressiveness, coercion in the Indo-Pacific and beyond. So both of these countries are blaming each other. USA is blaming China for its aggression. China is blaming USA for its negligence. So that's the main point. And also there has been a mention of the NATO's Vilnius summit, NATO summit. And here basically the People Republic of China stated ambition and coercive policy challenge our interests, security and values. So here basically the main concern for India is China's rise and China's aggressive policy. Now what India has said? India has said that ASEAN is a significant regional group and also its meeting is significant from Indian perspective. And here the India said that they will collaborate with ASEAN ministers, and the S. Jaishankar, our external affairs minister who attended this ASEAN meeting, has referred to the importance of ASEAN as a strong and unified organization, and it is important for the dynamic of the Indo-Pacific region. So that's why India has taken a positive stand. It has not criticized any country, but at the same time, India has supported that ASEAN should work independently. Okay. Now we have already discussed what is there in the article. Now we will discuss about the basics of ASEAN. What is ASEAN and how it was formed? What are its objectives? We will discuss about that. So ASEAN is Association of Southeast Asian nations, and it is basically a regional organization which is established or which was established to promote the political and the social stability amid rising tensions among the Asia's Pacific post-colonial state. So basically to ensure a proper stability, ensure a proper dignity or political stability because of the tensions which was there in the Asia Pacific region, or if we specifically say in the Indo-Pacific region, this particular grouping was formed to ensure stability in this particular region. If we talk about the motto of ASEAN, so it is one vision, one identity and one community. Okay, this is the motto of ASEAN. ASEAN Secretariat is located in Jakarta, Indonesia, and as it was formed in 8th August, so 8th August is celebrated as ASEAN Day. And it was formed in which year? It was formed in 1967. It was established by signing the Bangkok Declaration. Bangkok Declaration on 8th August 1967. This was formed. And talking about the founding father of ASEAN, so they were first of all obviously where the headquarters is located, that is Indonesia. Second one was Malaysia. Then comes Philippines. Then comes Singapore and Thailand. So these were the founding fathers of this particular regional grouping. Now we will discuss who are the member of this particular grouping. So talking about member, definitely all those 5 founding fathers will be there, and also there will be other countries like Brunei, Vietnam, Laos and Cambodia. Okay, and along with that, what are the other countries? Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines and Singapore. So these are the countries who are part of ASEAN. So they are Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, then comes Brunei, Vietnam, Laos and Cambodia and also Myanmar. Okay. So these are the members of ASEAN. Now talking about how it works. So first of all, there is a chairmanship, and chairmanship of this particular group, ASEAN, it rotates annually and it is basically based on the alphabetical order. So whoever will come first, like suppose a country starting with A, it will come first, so it will acquire the first chairmanship. So it is based on, it is first of all rotational in nature, and it is annual in nature, and it is based on alphabetical order. Then comes the ASEAN Summit. Now, ASEAN Summit is the supreme policy making body. It is what? Policy making body of ASEAN, and it is at the highest level of authority in ASEAN. The summit sets the direction of the ASEAN policy, and it also sets the direction that what they will follow. And under the charter or the ASEAN charter, the summit meets twice a year. Okay. Then comes the ASEAN Ministerial Conference. ASEAN Ministerial Conference, जिसकी अभी हम बात कर रहे थे. So ASEAN Ministerial Conference जो होता है, यहाँ पे basically आपके 4 important new ministerial bodies are there to support the summit, and it is ASEAN Coordinating Committee, ASEAN Political Security Council Committee, then there is ASEAN Economic Community Committee, and also there is ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community Council. Decision making is basically through the consensus and consultation. Okay, so this is the structure of ASEAN. Just remember, it is very important body. Now moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the text and context section, and here basically we will discuss about this national survey. As in my previous DNA, I have already highlighted that there will be a new statistical, sample statistical, there will be a SCOS, and in this particular, there will be national sample survey. So the government has appointed a panel under the chairmanship of Dr. Pranab Sen to review the methodology of the NSO, and that's why this particular statistics committee has been formed. So this particular decision was made on the backdrop of articles by Dr. Sharmika Ravi and Dr. Vivek Debroy, as they argued that the method which we are using at present time, it is totally outdated and we need to overhaul this whole process, and we need to revamp this whole process of basically conducting the sample survey. So here basically what is the importance of this sample survey, why we are conducting all these national level data, collecting these national level data, as they are a key source of research, policy making, development and planning. So that is the main reason that we are conducting these sample survey. And for this purpose, we are taking a closer look right now on the NFHS data, and based on these data, we formulate the policies, we formulate the schemes. Now, according to the report which was given by Dr. Sharmika Ravi and Dr. Vivek Debroy, these methodologies are quite outdated and they are overemphasizing on the rural data, and that's why our development it has been undermined. So that's why there is a new panel which has been appointed and it will review the methodology which is used by the NSO. Only this much is important. Just remember about it. Okay. Moving further toward our next important article, that is about the Rajasthan platform-based gig worker registration and welfare bill. So what are the important points in this particular bill? We will discuss about that. The bill applies to the aggregator, that is the digital intermediary which will be connecting buyers and sellers, and also to the primary employers, means the individual or organizing engaging platform based workers. So the bill proposes a specific welfare board which will comprise of the state officials, 5 representatives each from the gig workers and the aggregator, and 2 other from the civil society. So this board will set up the welfare fund and it will register platform-based gig workers, aggregator and primary employer to facilitate guarantee of social security scheme to platform-based gig workers. So this board will work like this. Just remember about the composition, and Rajasthan is the first state to implement such a kind of bill or to bring such a kind of law. Now, according to this fund, how will the fund come from? So the board will create a social security and welfare fund which will be comprising contribution which were made by the individual worker, state government and other sources, and a welfare cess which will be cut out from each transaction which the aggregator is required to pay. And the rate of this particular welfare cess will not exceed 2% nor fall short of 1% of the value each transaction. So that's why from this particular money there will be a proper fund. Now talking about the grievances. So the law provides an opportunity to be heard for any grievances, and with the entitlement, payment and benefits provided under the Act. So there will be under section 5, there will be a clause in which a worker can file a petition physically before an officer or online through any web portal, and the employer can object the order within 90 days before the appellate authority. So this article is very important. Just remember about whatever I taught you here, all the important nitty-gritties of this particular act. And also just remember that Rajasthan is the first state to implement such bill. Moving further toward our next important article, that is about from the state section, and here we will discuss news from the ICMR. So basically India has taken its first step to introduce controlled human infection studies, that is CHIS, that is controlled human infection study, and it is in many countries for vaccine and treatment development. It will be used for that. So India is the first country to implement such method or to conduct such a study which will work for the human infection study, that how human body behave when it is infected and how the pathogens behave or interact with this particular problem or how they cause disease. And based on that there will be a kind of new vaccine development which will be personalized in nature, and it will definitely be effective and cost effective. Okay, efficient as well as cost effective. So just remember ICMR and what is the nature or what is the effectiveness of this particular study. It is basically still now a no-go area for the India, but the ICMR bioethics unit will conduct this particular study. So just remember about this important article. Moving further toward our article from the international relation, here we will discuss about a new upcoming, as we already discussed that there will be 13th amendment which will be introduced by Sri Lankan government, and it will basically work for maintaining the dignity of Tamilians who are living in Sri Lanka. So Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged Sri Lankan Prime Minister to basically meet the Tamil aspiration and fulfills its commitment to implement the 13th amendment. But the opposition party, they are rejecting this claim and they are doing protest against this particular 13th amendment. So this is the important news. These are the important news. With this, we are ending this lecture. I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned a lot of things from this video. So we will meet in our next video and we will discuss some important news in that video. Thank you everyone. Thank you for attending this lecture.